Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to the BFEG platform. Myself and Madam Shosho and our honorable Mr. Cletus in the house. You know, we need to give this, in fact, we need to give you a title, a proper African title, not just Nigerian title, but an African title, because what you are doing is actually living the legacy of what the African history is all about. So everyone, you're welcome to our show. Sorry for a bit of delay, but you can't beat the technology. When technology calls, you just have to answer. So I'm going to hand over to Madam Shosha to break the kernel back. Over to you, Madam Shosha.
Madam CEO, I've come back from your leave. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Sorry we are late, like Madam CEO said, forgive us. But guess what? I don't want to waste time because the story, my ear is already itching to hear it. So, like Madam CEO said, we'll give Mr. Cletus a title later, not now, so that he can tell us the story. If we give him now, maybe, he will just say, this is sweeting me. I cannot say the story again. So, guys, get your favorite drink and your snacks is going to explode. So listen, and I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Cletus. And Mr. Cletus, over to you, sir. Evening, sir.
Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to today's program where we're talking about African stories. When we talk about Africa, it is the time I get animated. I get excited. I become very proud. Why? Because Africa is unique. Africa is rich. Africa has everything it takes to add value to the entire world. And if you watch our history, maybe some of them not written, but they are very, very rich. And so if you're an African, and you are listening to us, peradventure, you are having identity crisis. I want to encourage you. There is no reason for you to have identity crisis. We are unique. If you watch, when you mix all the colors in the world, what you get is black. Yes, for scientists. So Africa is unique. Africa is powerful. So we're here to tell you some of the values that have been passed on from generation to generation in Africa. And one of them is storytelling. Stories where you relive the past in a convivial atmosphere. Stories that has to do with myth that you may not understand. Stories that teaches morals to the young ones. Stories that tells you sometimes about your own history and your lineage. So we will take a few of them today because there are tons and tons of stories from the Horn of Africa in Egypt down to Cape Verde and Cape Town in South Africa, and from the west coast of West Africa down to the East Africa. So this African story is ever evergreen. We are starting today. I want to sing, like I told my women the other time, that when you tell African story without the song, it usually loses its meaning. Even if you have heard the song before, it's always a beauty to behold when you hear it. So we're starting with a song that says, Idegoma Sankonya Otoma. They know the songs. Tomanje Nidegoma Sankonya Otoma. Tomanje Nasha Wazagola Kia Otoma. Tomanje Nele Tonya Nola Konwa Otoma. Tomanje Nanya Moja Otukuro Otoma. Tomanje Nidegoma Sankonya Otoma. Manje. You are welcome to today's session with that song. We're starting with the proverbial tortoise. It's always in folktales in the whole of Africa. Why? Because it is perceived that the tortoise is very wise. And this story has to do with tortoise and his friends, 6 of his friends, traveling as emissaries or delegates to a king. Usually in the African setting, when the king is having a festival or a ceremony, they usually invite people in the neighborhood. So tortoise was invited and he went with his 6 friends. And in the African setting, before the coming of the white man, you navigate from one village to the other through bush paths. So tortoise and his friends navigated through the African unspoiled forest, where you have the floor filled with a lot of leaves. And as they were going, they saw other animals. Sometimes the trees were so tall that they can go over meters above. It was a 3-day journey by foot. And anytime they get to a place where they are tired, all the 6 friends with tortoise will settle somewhere and spend the night. When it is morning again, they continue their journey, having what they will eat. Then eventually they arrive at this rather a bigger settlement than that of tortoise. And who owns the place is the king. And the king is so rich, was so rich that the house was filled with splendor. But he brought out only one nut as the welcoming cola and water. And there were 7 visitors that came, but they brought out only 6 were not. And the king wanted to see how his friends would be able to handle challenges. Otherwise, the king had more than enough to have given them 7 or even 2 each. So they whispered to one another, how are they going to share it? Because usually in the one out, you have 2 pairs, just one, 2, and when you break it. So they consulted tortoise, and he said, no problems, friends. You have the 6. What will happen is break it and give me half of the walnut. And everybody felt cool and felt that tortoise was a very reasonable person. And so they considered, they opened it, and each person gave him 1. So at the end of the day, he had 3 walnut, but every other person had half each. But initially, without them thinking through it, they thought tortoise did them a favor. They thought tortoise was very understanding, but they didn't know that his wisdom had given him 3 walnut, while all of them had half each. So what is the moral lesson? The moral lesson is that first, you have to think about people. You don't have to be greedy. Then at the end of the day, you will always have more than enough. That is the first story. And it's important that we know the number 1 moral lesson, which is you have to think about people. Now, the reason why there is wars everywhere, like you have between Russia and Ukraine, is that they're not thinking about other people. People are just being selfish, be it Russian president or Ukraine. But if they were thinking about one another, there won't be war. That's the truth. They will always concede and all of that. So the African stories always have moral lessons behind them. There is no African story that is just story for story's sake. No. So I want people who are listening to always check the moral lessons there. And the second thing is that you must not be selfish. When you are not selfish, then you receive. Our second story is on the bird that I called Nduru. Nduru is a kind of bird that lives in not the that lives in the bush. They make their nets on top of trees. And the same line of story, a king was having a festival, and Nduru was invited, and Nduru had to fly several kilometers to the king's place. So when he got to the king's place, they gave him a very nice room. The room had bed coated with diamond, with gold. And the room was very spacious, not unlike the rooms that people have in England that are so small, because you are trying to manage resources. Yes, I'm talking to you in England. We have wider rooms in Lagos than in UK. I stand to be corrected, unless you are very rich, you know. So this Nduru was giving, you know, those your council houses. This Nduru was giving a very big room to stay. The first day, Nduru was complaining, and he was singing a song. He would go, I'm sure maybe in England you have birds like that. You know what that bird is saying every time? Listen to me now, this is what he's saying. So he was missing his home. He was missing his house. And the festival was to last for 3 days. So every time in the morning, in the afternoon, he was always complaining. And the king's aides were always taking note of the complaint. The Nduru was saying, I want to go back home, just 3 days. So knowing fully well that the king was saying like the Solomon of their era, who was very rich, they forwarded the complaint to the king to say, there's a man, one of the men that came for this program, he's always complaining that he wants to go back home, which means there's something fantastic about his house. Please, king, we need you to permit us, give us audience, let us go and see the man's house. Peradventure, the architecture there of his house is very beautiful, so that we can copy it and you, king, will replicate it in your palace. King said it's a good idea. So the third and final day, they all prepared and they followed Nduru home. And eventually, they got to Nduru's house. Do you know what was Nduru's house? Dry leaf, dry stick that he just tied together with some ropes. That was all. And they said to him, wait a minute, are you joking? And this was on top of a tree. Is this your house? He said, yes. Then the question was, why were you disturbing us for 3 days? For this that it doesn't even qualify to be the toilet of the king. He said, let me tell you, children, my home is my home. I was missing my home. That is the story of the Nduru. Then what is the moral lesson of Nduru? People tend to love their home. It is only now that you young ones, you don't seem to, it has to do with self-esteem and who you think you are. So these days we want to travel to Singapore and live in Singapore and don't want to come back to Nigeria or Tanzania, or we don't want to see Ghana anymore. No, you have to be content with what you have and love what you have. So that bird, Nduru, displayed that no matter how poor I am, my home is my home. Because come to think of it, no matter how beautiful the room they gave to him is, there were things that he couldn't do. And you can attest to it. Even you, if you visit anywhere, maybe the best hall in England, and you still want to go back home, because in that best hall, you can't do certain things that, do you understand what I'm saying? You can't do certain things that you do at home. To be free, sometimes when you get home, you can choose to be naked in your room, or you can't be naked in the king's room. They'll say, what are you doing? So that is our lesson that your home, you have to be comfortable in your home. If you are not comfortable in your home, it means you have identity crisis. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be comfortable in being poor, but be content with what you have. They are two different things. So before I go to the third story that I have today, I'm going to sing another song, just to break down the monotony of long and unwinding stories, so that we can understand it. Then the song goes like this. Abubo baba ko naga monya son lelo nya son onya semena no were ayoro ngekwe ko ya ayoro kiyo na ayoro na kwagwo ninwe o ayoro kiyo na ayoro baba kwagwo ninwe o ayoro kiyo go kiyo. Now, don't tell me to translate. Sometimes some of those songs are so deep that even you that is singing it, if you don't understand our local language deeply, you may not be able to express it. But people like me, I understand it. Some other time I will tell you the meaning. Now, the seventh, or some of you like MACHI, born in Lagos, grew up in Kaduna, now in London. Now hello, not going to understand that song. The next story is about seven girls, the rich man and the seven girls. They once lived a very wealthy man in a city, in a village in Africa, and he had seven girls. And some of you think that, oh, Africans, if they don't have male children, they will go to pieces or they are looking. No, that's not true. This story will debunk that. We have always treasured female children in Africa. Of course, so much so that, like in Igbo setting, the first female child is called Ada. And Ada had a lot of responsibility and accolades around her. You don't treat another anyhow. So we respect women. Don't let anybody tell you that Africans don't respect women. I don't know about people who claim that or who say that. So this man had seven girlfriends, seven beautiful girls, not seven girlfriends. So on one occasion, he told his wife that they were going to take a long journey. This journey would have taken them maybe about a year. They won't be back. And so the rich man had to prepare for all the girls and left a very strong instruction that first he gathered foods, water, all the things that they need to be in the house for 1 year without coming out. He provided. As a rich man, anything you want. Bible recorded that money answered all things. So before he left, he gave a very strong instruction that they should not leave the house. That is, stay within the compound. And the girl said, no problem, sir. And the man and his wife left for the journey. They went to a far country where they were going to spend 1 year. Then the first month, they were having fun. The girls' house was a massive palace, compound. They were just within the compound. They would not leave the compound as the man had instructed. Second month, things were still going fine. Girls were going, enjoyment everywhere. The third month, it was all merry. You had enough things and all of that. But you see, human ones are insatiable. With time, the kind of food that you're provided for and all of that will start being boring. And not seeing outside will become something that will attract you and all of that. So the temptation of wanting to disobey their father became very strong. So they were managing 4th month, the 5th month, the 6th month. It was becoming clear that these young girls are going to disobey their father. But there was a reason why the father said, no, do not open the door. Then the 6th month, I think one of the girls climbed the some elevated portion of the father's house. And when she looked down, she saw energy of activities on the street. People were buying and selling, buying costume, eating whatever they wanted to eat, buying meat and all of that. Life was looking better on the street than in their home. And so the girl came and said, wait a minute. Yes, our father said we should not leave the house. But wouldn't it be a good idea for us to just go to town as everyone is buy meat, buy vegetables, buy all kinds of things that people are buying down there? Then a lot of people echoed, yes, we're in agreement. But the last daughter, listen to me very carefully, the last daughter said, no, let us remember what our daddy said to us, that we should not go out. As she said that, the girls started attacking her. The first one shouted her down. The second one slapped her. The third one kicked her. And the fourth one pulled her. And the fourth and the fifth and the sixth, they were all against the last girl. And they challenged her and left her for dead. They actually attacked her. And because she was the last, she didn't have both the moral and the authority and the strength to withstand 6 of her seniors. Those ones went to the market, bought the meat, bought tomatoes, bought vegetables, bought everything that they needed, ice cream and all of that. And so they came home, made a very sumptuous meal, and they started eating. As they were eating, their gate was left open and their door. So the major reason why the father said they should not open, when a witch sees an open door or open gate, it will enter. So one of the witches was passing and saw the open door and entered and said to the first one, give me one reason why I should not eat you up now that I'm here and you left your door open. This is one of the secrets of the village, that you don't leave your door open on when your parents are not around. And the girl couldn't give any reason because she knew that she has gone against the father's instruction, and almost all the laws of the land she doesn't know. And the witch descended on this first girl and ate her up. After eating up the first girl, she went to the second girl and said, tell me also. That was how she ate the second girl, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. But before the witch came in, before they started eating, the last girl went to hide herself, knowing fully well that the door has been left open. And so the witch did not see the last girl. So when he finished, he left, and it was only the last girl that was left. And she was only the girl that survived. So when her parents came back, it was only the last girl that her parents met. What is the moral lesson? Now, the father, the rich man, didn't tell his children some deep secrets of the village that witches go about certain time, and when they don't find elders, they can eat up the young ones. And so they also means that when we leave ourselves open to sin and bad behavior, the consequences of sin and bad behavior cannot be put off. We have to go through it. So the lesson is that never disobey your parents, because disobeying them could be very fatal. So that's my third story. If you have any question to ask, you ask, because I'm entering the fourth and the final story. But maybe after this, we can still tell one or two, but I don't know. Any questions?
You are muted.
Okay. I think we have questions. Should we leave the question for the end, or we should ask?
Yeah, I think the question should be for the end, so that we can get the story.
All right, great. Then this one is a little bit long. The title is The Ape, the Snake, and the Lion. The Ape, the Snake, and the Lion. Madam Social was there when I told the story, so I'm going to repeat it. And Lady Lucy was not here. The ape, the snake, and the lion is a very interesting story. Long time ago in a village called Kejeje, lived a woman whose husband had died. You know, in the African setting, I must tell you, it can be very tough for a widow. Reason is very simple. It is not like the modern society where you, Madam Social, may be working in an office, your salary is 10,000 pounds a week, and your husband is 2,000 pounds a week. Why are you laughing? That is your portion in Jesus' name.
I said amen, no.
That's your portion in Jesus' name. All right. So because some of you are well trained academically, maybe you are medical doctors, you have good skills. So God forbid, even when such women lose their husbands, the only thing they will suffer a while is the emotional attachment that they have with their husbands. Financially, they can take care of themselves. But this is not true of African women. Now, in the African setting, it was famine that was our mainstay. So the men were the arrowheads in famine. So when the man dies, the much that the man can do in terms of the size of famine, the women cannot do it. And so suffering always sets in. So there was a little boy that this husband of this woman left, and things were very difficult for them, that feeding was a problem. You know, even in Africa today, feeding is still a major challenge. So one day, his son, the woman's son that is called Umvolana, said to the mother, "Mom, why are we so poor? Why are we hungry? What did Dad do when he was alive?" So your father was a great hunter. Then it's either you are a hunter or you are a farmer. Just it wasn't too diverse that you are a medical doctor, you are an engineer, you are a footballer like Kocha, you do this, you do that, you are a nurse. No. So the boy now said, "Okay, my father was a farmer, a hunter. That's not much of a profession, but fun. It was like hobby. Anyway, I'll go to the farm." He went to the farm, he started gathering things, how to set trap. The first day, the second day, he put them together. The third day, he was making the rope and all of that. Eventually, Molana was able to set a lot of traps. And he went home. The following day when he came, the Lord of heaven has sent a lot of game into the traps. So he gathered the games and he went home. He and his mother started enjoying. They saw the game, they ate some. Life continued like that for some time. They were now okay until one occasion he went to the farm and he saw an ape. That his trap had caught an ape. And when he got there and he wanted to kill this ape with his cutlass, the ape said, "Mvola, the son of Adam, don't kill me. Please release me from this your trap. Now that it's raining, when it is sunshine, when you need my help, I will help you." The boy was touched, Bolana was touched and released the ape. And the ape jumped into the trees and said, "Bolana, this thing that you have done for me, I will repay you. I am very grateful that you released me." Bolana went home that day without any game. Then the next was 2 days or 3 days later, he went back, he saw a snake. He wanted to kill the snake. Snake said, "Mvolana, the son of Adam, don't kill me. Don't go to town, because when you tell them in town, nobody will spare my life, they will kill me. Please release me. Today, I need your help. When you need my help, I will be there for you. Bolana was also touched. He released the snake, and the snake left. And the snake said, remember, I have spoken, I've made this promise. I will be there for you when you need my help. Bolana, things were not getting very, very good. On one occasion, he went back again, he saw lion. Lion has been caught in his trap. And he wanted to kill lion. Lion said, oh, Bolana, thou son of Adam, don't kill me. Please, can you release me? Today, I need your help. Tomorrow, when you need my help, I will be there for you. He was scared that lions are dangerous. Is this one not deceiving me? He released the lion, and lion ran away and said, Bolana, thank you. I will never forget this promise. I will remember you. I'll be there for you when you need me. Then when he went back, his trap has called a man, a human being. And he saw him. He won't kill a human, but the human being said, please, can you release me? I make this promise. When you release me, I promise you, I will return. I will never forget this, your service. And Bolana released a man. If I had released an ape, a snake, and a lion, why will he not release a man? Then Bolana and the mother became very hungry again, because the animals that the trap is cutting are now pleading to be released. And he has a soft heart. So on one occasion, he said to the mother, you know what? I'm a young man. I need to take a voyage, just like you people traveled from Nigeria to UK. He said, bake cake for me, so that I will travel to a foreign land and go and look for what to do. That's why you plan UK. You want to look for better life. So they made cake for Bolana. The mother made cake for him and put it in a bag and started on a very long journey. The first day, second day, third day, of course, it didn't have compass, it didn't have cell phone, no place to charge, there was no solar energy, nothing. We're talking about natural virgin forest of Africa. So about 2 weeks into the forest, he missed his bearing. He was hungry, the cake had already finished, and he didn't know where to go. And he looked up and he saw the ape that he released. He said, oh, Bolana, thou son of Adam, what are you doing in our territory? Bolana said, I'm looking for fortune. But here I am so hungry and I'm dying. Bolana said, the ape said, not under my watch. He rushed around, went to nearby place, got some pawpaw and some banana, boom, they brought him from Bolana. Went, got some water, Bolana ate pawpaw and banana, his soul was refreshed, and he drank water. And the ape said, Bolana, I had to go now to go and take care of my family. And the ape went. He took some of the banana and the pawpaw on his way. Few days later, he finished. And Bolana met the lion. And the lion said to him, Bolana, thou son of Adam, what are you doing in my territory? Bolana said, I'm looking for fortune. Yet I have not found, I've missed my way. The lion just went, caught some antelope, brought to Bolana, got some fire, and Bolana roasted and ate. He fetched water for him, he drank. And the lion said, I'll be off now so that I can go and take care of my club. Then he continued. Bolana saw an old woman. The old woman said, young man, where are you coming from? Where are you going? He said, I'm looking for fortune. He said, well, the woman said to him, my husband is very sick. I am looking for who to cure my husband of the terminal disease that he has. Bolana said, I am not a medical doctor. I can't help you. So while he looked on the other side, he saw a well where he can get water. Volana had his bag on him. He had his bag. So he looked into the well. Guess what? The snake that he freed from his trap was there. And when Volana looked, the snake called out on Volana, "Volana, thou son of Adam, what are you doing in my territory and in my well?" Volana said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm the snake that you freed. I know you don't recognize me." So he said, "Please, can I have that bag that you're holding?" Volana threw the bag into the well, and the snake gathered diamonds and gold and silver and put into the bag and came out and handed it over to him. He said, "A few meters away from here, you will get to the city. You will need to survive in the city. This gold, this diamond, this silver, I've kept it from man for a long time. I know it's useful to you. Take it and go into the city. As long as you'll be in the city, is enough for you to live. That's a fortune that I can give you." Volana was very happy. And as he was entering into the city, he saw a man. Guess who? The man he's freed from his trap. And he said, "Volana, thou son of Adam, where comest thou?" He said, "I've been on a long journey. Please, can I pass the night in your house?" The man said, "No problem. You helped me the other time. Come to my house." And when they go home, the woman in the house, his wife, prepared a meal. He had his meal. They gave him a room. He spent the night. While spending the night, the man, look at man now, went to Mbolana's bag and found diamond, gold, and silver. Fortune that even the whole city, that city doesn't have. Rather than allow the man to go with his good things, said, "Okay, let me take you to the Sultan's place." The man took Mbolana in the morning. When he got to Sultan's place, he said to them, "This Mbolana has brought evil in this city. The thing that belonged to the snake, that no man could reach, the weight is in his bag. We better kill him because he has brought evil into the city." They bound Mbolana, tied his legs, tied his hands, and took him to the Sultan's palace. When he got there, the snake got wind of what man was about to do to man inhumanity to man. The snake came and went straight to the Sultan's house. And when he got there, the snake went to where the man that implicated Mbolana was. And they know the implication, that the snake is trying to communicate something. So the Sultan came out and said, "Wait a minute, why is the snake here? Why did he go to your feet?" They were asking. Then they now said to Mbolana, "Tell us your story." Mbolana repeated this story, how he met the ape, how he was suffering. He went to he met the ape, the trap, he freed the ape, what the ape told him, what the lion told him, what the snake told him. And now what the man also told him, even the old woman. So he came out now, everyone, the ape, the snake, and the lion, they all honored their words to help him. But this man is the only person that did not honor his word. Rather than honor his word for freeing him from his trap, he has now lied against him. That's why he's tied, his hands are tied and his legs are tied. The Sultan said, "You, this man, you are qualified to be tied and thrown into the ocean. You paid this man, Mbolana, evil for good. You are a horrible human being." So that is the story of man. What is the moral lesson? Every other thing that God created, the moon, the sun, the animals, the ocean, the rivers, they are behaving the way God wants them to behave. They are following the will of God. Only man is innately wicked, that whatever you do for a man, they pay you back with evil. So And this is the story of the ape, the snake, and the lion. And I want to end it with a song. And my sister, Madam Social, heard that song. And it was sung by Bob Marley. And it goes like this. Please permit me the time to finish it. I will sing the song to buttress who man is. Bob Marley said, man to man is so unjust. Children, you don't know who to trust. Your worst enemy could be your best friend, and your best friend, your worst enemy. People crazy and parasites, we cope up and take a bite. If your night should turn today now, a lot of people who run away, you know that
Faith.
let them
wear
wait. All that faith, let them wait. Say that throw me con, me no con no foul. I say you clock, clock. Don't we hate you? Pretend they love you now. Go behind it. So for you now. So that's the song that Bob Marley sang long time ago. So let's leave it there. And so we have to be very, very careful with men. And this is the true story about man. So that's how I bring my story to an end today. All humans are flawed. So we have to be very, very careful about human beings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Clayton. That was amazing. Would that cap fit? Let them wear it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make any comment today about that particular. Let me just.
Why?
This has entered another climate. You know, I'm going to start. I think I should start from let me start from top to let's start from bottom to top. Bottom to top is always the grassroots way of doing things, you know, bottom to top. So you start from bottom. That was such an amazing, I've been doing some jotting down. I'm just taking a lot of notes and looking everything happening around the world, you know. And that's why one good thing about African stories, people will say, where are your history? Where did you write your history? Yes, our history are told through our artifacts. And that is why we cry for those things to be returned. Our history are told through storytelling. These are passed from generation to generation. And that is why when I go to meetings, I go to places, I used to say to people, when you stop people from actually celebrating their culture, especially those of us that are from the African descendants, what you are doing to us is that you are actually stopping us from passing on our history from generation to generation. They say it's not until you take knife and slaughter somebody before you kill the person. Sometimes you can kill people through your action, through your behavior, through your deprivation. You deprive them from certain things. You've actually finished them. So creating, it is important that our platform is being open. In the radio show, the last I was doing yesterday, we were talking about, has it come to a time where, when we talk about the Black history, it's something that we need to start. Do we have to wait for the system to create a Black History Month? Or we just have to continue to be having this conversation? And I think what we concluded during the radio show was, it has come to a stage whereby it has to be a continuous conversation from us. We shouldn't wait till Black History Month or Black History event to start discussing things that matter to us, things like our culture. It should be something that anything we're doing we must make it as a point of duty to incorporate our culture. Whether we are cooking at home, we must incorporate our culture. Whether in our dressing, in what we do, whether we are having a discussion, whether we are praying, try to pray in your language, you know, even though you're praying, try to see how you can pray that prayer. So these are how you actually implement your culture into everyday thing. So going back to your last story that says, you see, all the people that they've come across in their life, I'm going to bring it back to, I'm always like to be the devil advocate sometimes. So bringing it back to what we are celebrating, Black History Month, we have a lot of people that have come to Africa. According to them, they say they are our colonial masters. But I believe Africa has been existing even before we have colonization. So there are people that have come into Africa. And I'm trying to label them according to the snake. We have the snake, and we have the ape, and we have the human being. So I'm going to place the human being as the colonials, you know. So, you know, we have the ape, other people. So these are things that have come, nature have come to Africa and has blessed Africa. That is where you come about. This nature, these are the ape, the snake. These are people that have come to, these are things that have come to Africa, has made Africa who Africa is. So you go to Africa, it's an abundant land full of milk and honey. But when the humans come to Africa, what do? They're making Africa. They make Africa empty.
They raped Africa.
Yeah, so they actually come in, even the fact that Africa welcome people in return, what do we get? Somebody was saying the other day, the colonization has actually helped because there's a lot of things that are made. There are things that are made to go gradually. When you plant, when you plant like an okra, when you plant things, the one that you put fertilizer for it to grow, it does not last, is it? After a while, you cannot store it for a long time. But anything that you grow naturally, when you harvest it, it stays for a long time. And even that, they bring it back to colonization. If you have just left Africa the way it is, gradually we will come to be or get ourselves into civilization with our time. Civilization, you take civilization according to how it meets you. Because looking at everything, they're talking about global warming now. Look at what's happening in Nigeria, the flood. Look at what is happening in Asia, the flood. So this is when you force civilization, anything that you force to happen, it becomes a problem. So going back to your story, there are people that comes your way that will make positive change to you, and the sun that comes your way, they make a very negative impact in your life. And we see it over the years. People, either people that you call them friends, or people that you call them family, people that you colleague, people in authority, in government, you bring certain government in and they destroy the whole thing in the system. So Mr. Kajis, I'm going to ask you this question now, because I try to bring it back to the topic we are doing. Do you think now, going back to your story, they said, the man, the guy, what is his, that is, I've forgotten his name. He met the snake.
Ngolana
met the snake.
Yes.
He met the snake, he met the ape, and in return, they were positive to him. So bringing it back to our topic, when we as African, or is it the Western world met Africa, or where Africa met Western world? Will you say the civilization was a good one or a bad one?
Okay, thank you. Naturally, everything has good and bad. Now the issue is which one is galore, which one is more. people who normally tell single story that if the white man did not come, Africans would have been in darkness are liars on the pit of hell. I'm going to prove it now. Now, before the white man came, there was the University of Timbuktu in West Africa, and it's the first university in the world. If you think I am lying, Egypt, tomorrow, you Western country, you don't know how the pyramids of Egypt were built. And you are telling me if you didn't come, will not have been anything. Let's come to West Africa. Benin City, the Great Benin Wall, is the longest wall, not the highest, the longest wall in the world. It is 10,000 kilometers. They were not built by white boys. And when the first European step is filled in the palace of the Benin, the palace of the Boba of Benin, he said that the palace is bigger than the Harlem in Dutch, because it was all the British that came to Benin first. And he said they were so organized that everything was well laid. It was not the white man that taught us. And I mentioned it here before, the first street light in the world was in Benin. It was lamp, powered by lamp. When the white man came, he saw the street light. So we were already developed. Our governmental institution developed. Not only Benin, the Kanem Bonu, the Songhai Empire, even the Benin Empire, the Ashanti Kosoko Empire, the Gold Coast. You can go on and on and on. They were developed in their tribes. They were trading among themselves. Clothes made with hands. And of course, you know all the artwork. If they didn't steal the artwork, they would have said they built the artwork. Can an illiterate build those artwork that you make billions from today? Can an illiterate build them? It was high technology and people who were very advanced in their own traditional education, not your kind of education. So anybody who is telling you that, oh, without the coming a white man. But however, the good thing about it is that, of course, God that created us planned that someday the entire world will come together. So he gave the Europeans the ability to jump into a ship and move to the coast of another person's country. So they were not better than us because the white man was also discriminatory. They also were barbaric in nature. Even in Britain, women were not voting a long time ago and all of that. So there was this development as we're developing. They were not ahead of us, because being ahead of us does not mean that because you have this supersonic jet. Let me tell you the thing that we had before, that even the coming of the white man had destroyed. There was love in the African setting. We had this camaraderie. We were communal in nature. You are not. In your Britain, if I come to your house now, if I don't tell you that I'm coming, you are not going to let me in. You won't even let me sleep in your house, but I'm your uncle, but you won't let me in because you've been taught by the British. No, but that's not how we are. You know that you can go to Europe, by the time you land there, oh, everybody will bring out food for you. So what is better than relationship? Tell me. What is better than expressing your humanity? Tell me. So we tend to put value in things that don't have value. Yes. The first value is that God wanted to have relationship with man. That's why he created man. And we Africans follow that. And you are saying relationship is not good. Now that's why some of you commit suicide over there. Although suicide is alien to us, it is a white man that taught black people how to commit suicide. So it's not true that their coming is a blessing to us. Not entirely true. It took away some of the great values that we have. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. It destroyed our humanity. It destroyed our communal nature of life. It destroyed our values. Because, come to think of it, you are pretending the Western world is pretending to have values, but they actually don't have values. It is not that they started thinking about values. Oh yes. You taught us how to embezzle money. You couldn't steal in African society before. You would be dealt with. There was no lie. We didn't lie. That was why before the coming of the white man, your barn will be somewhere you just put your yam. You won't cover it up. No security man, and nobody will touch it. Yes, and this is that I'm telling you, they are not alien. I met them. So it's not true. Now, storytelling can destroy destinies, especially single stories. Whilst the balanced storytelling can build destinies. The white single storytelling had destroyed the destiny of Africa. Their children don't see us as people who don't have values, people who are monkeys, who live on top of trees. Until recently, they think that all of us live on trees. That's what they told them. Meanwhile, they didn't find anybody on trees. We never live on the trees. So that's the danger of single story. So that's why. So don't mind people who have this single story that have destroyed, that tend to destroy Africa. That's what we're trying to rewrite now. And I praise your effort. I mean, we may not be, I don't know how many people that are watching us, but you are making impact. When you record it, share it to especially young Africans who don't know anything about Africa, who just believe that everything about Africa is useless. You know, there was someone recently that visited, a Black American visited Nigeria, and they went to Lekki, and he said, "You mean there's a place like this in Nigeria? Ordinary Lekki." He has not been to Abuja. Do you understand what I'm talking? No, he has not been to some part of Kaduna. He has not been to Port Harcourt. Just Lekki. He said, "Wow, they've been lying to us. You mean Lagos can be this beautiful?" So that's the danger of single story, telling all of us that it is their comment that has brought. Meanwhile, they've stolen everything that we have. They stole us. They stole human beings. They stole our gold. They stole everything, our artwork. They stole. So it was more of a cost that they came than a blessing.
You muted your question.
Do you have a question?
Before you go to another question, Mr. Cletus, you nailed this one very well. This one is the one you just said, it's a story of its own, to be honest. It's a very good one, and I think this needs to be broadcasted for the young generations to hear. It's very important, so that they have a sense of belonging. So over to you, Lucy.
Okay. Then I'll go to the one that, that one, it touched me. That is the third, is it the third story, yeah? The third story, the one that they asked them not to shut the door, not to open the door. This come back to, like now, I know it's happening back home too, and it's happening here. So we're going to look at the community as a whole, where a lot of children now, disobedience is their number one priority. Not listening to their parents, waking up in the morning, the first thing they go is on the computer. Not understanding the reality of life. The reality of life. Once they are living inside the house, they think that is the end of the war. They forget, say there's another war outside. When you go out there, there's no mother, there's no father. It's a lion den. It's a survivor of the fittest. If you can escape it, you see now there's a growing number of children don't want to listen to parents. I'm going to bring it back to our society here in Europe, where I understand where the authority are coming from in terms of giving children power, give children opportunity, give them a voice to speak. But I think they kind of miss the point of what the authority that is being given to a child and a parent. I can understand when a parent is not doing their job, their parental care. But I also can understand that before a parent misses the track, something has happened in that parent's life. And sometimes the authority fail to look at those issues that has actually made that parent failing in their duty of care. And again, if you now deep down into that parent history, before they become a parent, even as a child, there's something that has missed out in their life as a child. They now grow up to become an adult that cannot also be a functional adult. So looking at those children, now their parents told them nothing, not to open the door, not to do this. We see children, like now they're talking about Halloween now. We'll be telling children, don't go to the square. Sit in your house, do your Halloween. But you see a lot of children, the more you are telling them not to do things, that is when they do it with authority. And they fail to understand there's a repercussion. And the system also is not doing any justice to that. And another part of your story where you say the children were asking the parents, I'm not only going to school the parents, I'm going to school the children, I'm also going to school the parents. Where the parents refuse to tell the children the reason why you are telling them not to open the door. We are living in a jet war. The children are very curious. They want to learn. I always say, if you don't teach your children, the street will teach them. Yeah, they are very curious. They want to know things. We as a parent, our duty in actually telling them, I know during the time you guys grow up, you don't question your parents, but now we have to question parents. So I'm going to ask you, Mr. Cletus, where do parents need to work on in terms of being open to their children? And as children, where did they need to call it a no-no and say, you know what, you need to respect yourself so that you can actually benefit from what your parents have learned?
Thank you very much. Let me take you back to the concept from the Holy Book. It said we should do all things in moderation. Now, let me take it from the point of view of the parents. I wholeheartedly agree with you. You don't tell a kid or tell children, shut the door, don't open it, and you don't tell them the reason. That is, I would say, the gravest of mistakes, because they will find out. So the rich man was wrong by not telling the children. So I will advise everywhere, whether you're in UK, you're in Africa, if you tell your child not to do something, you advance the reasons. Why not? Most of them will know. They will see the reason. It's only the ones that want to get it hot first before then they will come back. So it is expedient that you tell them why you are telling them certain things and all of that. That's one. Then on the side of the children, especially you people that are in Europe, your case is more difficult because some of the things that are not extremely beautiful have been backed by law. For example, I go back to the Holy Book. It says that if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. But people are saying, don't use the rod at all. Well, now, go and take your statistics. The children in the West tend to have more emotional problems than the children from the East. Far East, China, Singapore, Malaysia, and all of that, even Japan, because they correct their children. They're not like you. Now, for us Africans, we don't have such laws. Now we're getting to the level where we now know that, yes, you will not punish you won't overdo it, but you need to let your child know that if you go beyond this boundary, you'll be punished. Do you know what? That right there in Europe, do you know that the Queen's children cannot just act anyhow? Are you aware? Are you aware? Queen's grandchildren, they can't act anyhow. That's the truth. However, just because one of them went to marry somebody who is not British. The whole world is, palace is not comfortable with it. Am I correct? So while the ordinary people, I'm sorry to say, in Europe, tend to say, oh, let the children do whatever they want to use their head to work, let them be. When he's saying, and the institution of the queenship and the kingship in England is saying, no, you are a royal child. Royal children behave like this and like this. Am I correct? Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, I know that. So why is it that there are people in Britain there who say the child must be brought up in this certain way, and they say the other children can just act anyhow? Watch it. Watch it. So that tells you that if you want to be somebody, you must be guided. Not by killing you or whatever, but you must be guided. So that is very key. Any child that you leave to act anyhow, you are asking for trouble. I don't know why I'm always referring to it. People say, don't want to refer, I don't want to call it, but these days you are now telling children to say, if you feel anyhow, act anyhow. Yes, if you feel this way, go this way. But meanwhile, you know that this child is this. But you say, if you feel this way, go this way. No, that's not what God is saying. We are all going to suffer it because we're not directing them. The Holy Book again says that Psalm 119 verse 105. The word of God is a lamp unto your feet, and the word of God is a light unto your path. Do you know why Britain is so great? Why we call you Great Britain? Do you know why? Because you embraced Christianity a long time ago. And there are certain ways that a Christian child should behave. Now you are saying Christianity is no longer fashionable, it's outdated. And the last Christmas, I watched video from your Europe, from your Britain, not Europe. Young boys of teenage age and early 20s, they were on the streets drunk on Christmas Day. Is that the kind of life you want? Because you want, oh, just let them be. Moderation is it. If you leave your children to act anyhow, the Bible says that the child is filled with stupidity. You must correct the foolishness of a child, otherwise it will end up not being useful to you. So parents also should know that you don't have to use force to train your children, but you must guide them firmly and politely. Family, I use the word family. Don't tell me, oh, he's 18, he can decide to drink 10 bottles of alcohol. No, he's 18 years, but don't drink 10 bottles of alcohol. It will affect your life. It will destroy your kidney before you're 25. You understand? Oh, he's 18, she's 18, she can have boyfriends, bring in boyfriend today, 2 weeks later, another boyfriend. Before you know it, he will sleep, she will sleep with all the boys in the city. I said, no. We need to start putting these boundaries. Let's not say, oh, civility will come past. You can't go beyond morality. No, civilization does not take the position of morality. Any society that's morally bankrupt, the result will be there. So that's why you have some major problems now in UK, all kinds of, I don't want, you know them, issues that you have. It has gotten to Africa. There's a place in Nigeria, first up, they said the level of drug addiction in first area in Nigeria is 38%, almost 40%. That's dangerous. Where is it coming from? Europe. You couldn't take drugs when I was in Iru. Who born you? They will beat the stupidity out of you. Yes, you won't try it. You say it doesn't work. Who told you that it doesn't work? It's because you give them options. Sit down. They will sit down. Anyway, I'm not here to provide solutions on how you are going to take care of your child. If you want your children to eat what you don't want them to eat, take Indian ham, take banana, you are just creating problems for yourself. Sooner than later, your child will be a relic and a drug addict. will not be useful to you anymore. So that's what I have to do. Everything has to be moderated.
Moderated.
Yes.
Home sweet home. Home sweet home. That's another beautiful one, that the second story you tell, home sweet home.
Yeah.
I look at the guy, that's what they say. They say, how do they call that thing? They say, how do they call them? Like my mother always said that, you know yourself, not because. How do they call them? No, they say know yourself, not because. I be know where the shoe where I can't remember this parable. But home sweet.
Where the picture.
Exactly. Home sweet home. I've seen, when you tell that story, we said they were trying to look at the birds that cry all the time that you want to go. This come back to some of us. We know when we talk about Africa, people start say waiting now. They start to complain. They say we talk too much about our country. If we're not happy, we can go back. People always complain, but that is why I love that story so much. There's nothing like your home. You understand me? There's nothing like your culture. There's nothing like your heritage. When we talk about our heritage, when we try to promote our culture, it's not that we are not doing it because we don't like England. Of course, we go say honey, not the streets. We're not doing it because we don't like England. No, we're not doing it like that. We're doing it because our culture is our culture. This is you. This is what make you who you are. And most time people will try to talk us down and say we overdo it. Can somebody, let me ask you the question, can somebody overdo in culture?
No. Culture follows the people. Jamaicans, when you see them, you see they act like Jamaicans, true or false? When you see Chinese, they act like Chinese. Chinese want to go back. You may say, oh, well, you are in America, you want to go back to China. Is America not better than China? They will tell you, well, your country is good, but I want to go back. So there's something about home. It is not an accident that you, Lucy, was made in Nigeria. God didn't make mistake to make you in Nigeria. So if you don't like anything again about Nigeria, then you have an identity crisis. That person cannot fulfill purpose. So that's why you're trying to let the whole world know about Africa, the good things about Africa, our culture, our everything that has to do with us. It means you are the true daughter of your father. So the Chinese is also trying to project the Chinese culture. The Japanese is doing that. The German, even the British, where you are. So don't let anybody put you down. Everyone is talking about their home. Everyone. No exception, except the people who have identity crisis. Who say, I don't like where I'm coming from. I don't like my color. Well, where are you coming from? Why don't you? This color, are you aware, Lucy, that this color is the only one that does not wrinkle? If I tell you my age, come and see my skin, it's very smooth. There's no British guy that is as smooth as myself at our age. None. They have wrinkles. I'm sorry. It's not putting them down, but that's the way they are. Yes. Do you actually want to know my age? Do you?
We cannot kick cow here.
So what am I saying? This color is good, it's beautiful. It doesn't fade. Don't rub any of those cream. Don't be bothered about cream. Don't go and bleach your skin. Just leave this skin beautiful like this. I will still be like this at 98 years old. Mark my word. But when you see a 48-year-old Oyibo woman of 52, you would think that the whole skin is with all the exposures and the good life. So what am I saying? You are unique. You are beautiful. It's not just a slogan that black is beautiful. It's not. It's real. Yeah. So all we need to do is just get better organized, get organized. Don't let like man who Umbola are freed and he came to steal everything. They've been stealing our gold and our diamond since they came, British people and Europeans. They've been seeing our artifact. They are stealing our oil now. Did you hear that Nigeria, they discovered that 58 pipes where they are stealing oil? Where do you think it's going to? It's your country. It's going to Europe. It's not going to Ghana. All right, ladies. I think
thank you. I think we're always coming to an end. We're coming to an end. Just to say big thank you for. I'm gonna leave the greedy tortoise for another day. I'm gonna leave that one for another day. I think we've actually nailed it. We've nailed it, and it has come. It's always amazing having conversation with you because you break it down to the present. So for those of you that think the African storytelling does not mean anything, you can see the way we break it down now. Every African story has a meaning to your today life.
Yes.
So go and listen. Go spend time and listen to those African stories and look for somebody that can translate it for you properly, so that you can have a good meaning to it. Mr. Cletus, once again, I'm going to do salutes. Salute for your lovely presentation. And guys, tomorrow we are at Woolwich Library, the African pop-up market. All our traders selling African goods, African entrepreneur, Black excellency. I will be there with my Afrocentric African accessories. We have those selling candle. We have NG hats. There's a lot of us coming there. Asan, the great artist, is coming there with the African clay. So guys, it's going to be, and we are having the day. The day is going to break it down with the African music. We're going to turn the library into another African setting. Come and view. It's going to be bombastic. So guys, thank you, Madam Shoshi. I close the show.
Yes, so Goza. Now Goza. I go say what Mr. Cletus. It was fantastic. Guys, watch out for our podcast. It's going to come. You don't know. So that all this you've heard, because there's no time. I said my ear was itching, and I look at what we had today. So guys, don't miss the market tomorrow. It's going to be fun. Come and get your Christmas presents ready. The earlier, the better. So guys, we will see you guys in the next program. Don't touch that dial. Bye-bye.